Oh, I already did that one. Yeah, hi. Good morning. This is Dr. Mia Lueth. It is Saturday, September 20th, 2025. It is 10:58 a.m. Eastern, New York time, USA. It's something on the screen there. I do laugh at myself quite a bit sometimes, but my tablet and my phone, which I'm grateful to have, um, it is not ideal, but I'm grateful to have it. Way better than nothing for sure. Uh, yeah, I keep trying to touch my laptop screen and getting used to, and it's not a touch screen. These things in life we get used to doing, and see, this is the thing: is that there are times when what I can say is, I know that there's ice hockey insiders in the National Hockey League for sure, but in other, yeah, probably Olympic and KHL and others who understand, right? Sometimes you have to like undo some things and habits before you start, right, building again, better habits and more fruitful and more, you know, productive and healthy. So these things never happen overnight. And as a long-time hockey fan, uh, I learned how to be a very patient hockey fan, uh, and how to understand that, I read a lot, I listen a lot, and as a hockey fan, after a while, you start getting into the media and the blogs and the people, and you talk to them and whatever. There's always the other team. They're human beings. A lot of times you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. It might be a couple games where lead scorers just having trouble getting legs. It might be that, only got like half a day in between games. There's all these considerations. And so intangibles are something that I have come to understand really, really well. And there's only so much that can happen. And I'm talking about the National Hockey League, but it's like this with other leagues. There's only so much that you can do. There's only so many ways that you can play. And learning how not to get too down or, you know, too upset or, right, about certain things. I mean, it comes with time. And I've learned, it seems like one thing, but it may not be that at all, which is another reason why I like listening when I can to pregame and postgame coach, because it's sort of like that perspective. It's like, well, we went into it thinking like this and we had some, but clearly we weren't really picking up on how to, you know, work a little more patiently or whatever the case may be. I mean, whatever the coaches say, they tend to have sort of that perspective that helps you understand what you can't get, you know, like the game was pretty close. And you can't get too fussy because sometimes it is just the case. The other team just tired of the coach yelling at them, or, They ate their Wheaties or Shreddies, whichever, right? And they're just on it. And they just keep getting the jump on you. And it happens in the National Hockey League all the time. And, I've seen a lot of press and I've seen a lot of blogs and I've talked to a lot of hockey people over time. Okay. So I'm 53. And so I've had some practice, being a longtime hockey fan. And the one thing that I do try and put out there and just sort of keep repeating it is your team is not the only team playing, okay? They're playing against another team, okay? Your best, goal scorer, I guarantee you they got people who quite literally, they might be defensemen, they learn these people and they start to realize how to shut them down. So your goal scorer might go through a stage where they're only getting assists or they're not scoring. It happens in ice hockey all the time. Okay? So one way to become less frustrated and, not let your blood pressure or, feel let down by your team or whatever is understand. These are natural ebbs and flows in the National Hockey League. And there's some really good defensemen who understand, like, call it the OB zone. But yeah, I mean, Hammer Goat has been in that zone, and, Crosby and quite a few others. They start to understand how to shut them down a little more. And they get put against them. Okay? Like, goal scoring, air quote, droughts happen all the time. It is not entirely up to one player at all. Okay? Other teams get to know how certain players play and get to read things, and they start to get really good at being in the way, at blocking views, at stripping pucks. You understand? Every goal scorer in the National Hockey League goes through that. Everyone, without exception. Okay? That's why sometimes you get secondary scoring, sometimes you get tertiary. Right. These things need to be looked at in a more knowledgeable way. Especially if you're a fan that gets really upset or, blows your lid or gives up on your franchise or starts dogging the, let's just say it's your team captain who's like your highest goal scorer. Okay, well, guess what? It happens all the time. That is hockey natural. It's not just about your goal scorer, my friends. It isn't. It never is. It never will be. Okay? Other teams learn how to split the D, and then other teams know how to, work the boards. Other teams, they start, right. And defensemen start picking up on how, where to be to get in the way of a shooter. These things are natural to the game of ice hockey. And even ice hockey press and analysts need to remember this and be a little more fair and balanced because there are times when the team that is the last place in the National Hockey League, way down there, can jump up and bite the first place team square in the ass. You never underestimate a franchise. You never underestimate any other ice hockey team. Never. Okay? That's not hockey smart. Ever. And I might actually be saying this to hockey insiders. And people need to have way more patience with some of the goaltending, and I will tell you why. All right. It is a very difficult transition coming from the AHL to the NHL in the first place. And okay, goalies, all right, do not play all 82 or 80, however there are many. It's 11-11, in case anybody needed to know. That's just a side note. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense to you. Okay, goalies, and especially they come from a different country and they got to adjust, to the country and languages and other stuff. Okay, they don't play every game, unlike some of the skaters. I mean, the only reason some skaters miss a game is maybe they just have like an injury that was unexpected and has to be, bad enough to keep them off the ice. But players can play all the games. I mean, they have that potential. Goalies do not have the potential to play every single game. Please. Understand this. Take it in. Understand this. Okay? So, a goalie may only play between 25 and 30 games, and it doesn't matter which goalie is playing more or less. You understand? Neither goalie has the potential of playing in every single game. That means, okay, that they don't have ice time to learn anywhere near as quickly as the skaters do. All right? Best place to learn is right in that game time blue paint. Okay? They're let's just what the way people. I mean, if you understand some terminology, schmelts, right? Rookies. Okay, but goalies. Okay, it should be seen more like they have a schmelty year, and then they have a rookie year. Okay, it doesn't. All right, you have to look at it that way, because it can take 2 full years before they even got ice time in all the buildings. It could take 3 years for an NHL goaltender to actually play on blue paint in all the buildings. Get used to the feel of it. Get used to the ice. Understand these are bouncy boards and these lights reflect some. You know what I'm trying to say? All of these things are factors. So I would greatly appreciate if some hockey press, even some of you have played, okay, for educating and managing expectations and for helping to give an overall, and also for reducing the blood pressure of some of the fans, and of course people in the game. Okay, a goalie, it could take 3 years for an NHL goalie to actually play on blue paint in all of the buildings. They never have the potential to play in every single game. Ever. Okay? That is information that does not get discussed a lot. And people in the National Hockey League and fans and others need to start understanding that part a little better. Okay? It does take always longer just for that reason. They are not able to play in every single building every season. And it takes a little while for them to even get the experience of playing in certain buildings. Okay? So, after a goaltender is 3 years in, okay, then you can start looking at some things. Being a little more critical. Right? That's why, right, it can take goalies to get started in the National Hockey League. Your expectations of them. You need to account for these things. Otherwise, no, you don't really understand the game. And I'm going to say this right out loud. I know for a fact, in all confidence, that I quite literally know the game better than some of the people who get paid to talk about it or play it. These things, when it comes to goalies, need to be considered. Okay? You help people understand the game better. You also need to understand goaltenders are special teams as well. Okay? They are power players and they are penalty killers. Okay? You can't look at a goaltender the same way you look at a skater. And in some, yes, defensemen then also have some considerations too. So you got to give them a little time. But yes, goalies, just keep supporting them, keep rooting for them. Okay, keep your anger and your disappointment away from it. Okay, because your expectation is so completely unrealistic. Straight out. But it is getting to be that time of year. And I'm putting aside some things, my health. I know that there are a few people in certain clubs and insiders, National Hockey League, know of me or whatever. Specifically one club knows I've been dealing with health problems for a while. Trying to get diagnosed has been difficult and trying to find the right specialist. And I tire out a bit more easy and, have symptoms. And I'm having difficulty swallowing food, dysphagia, which could be any number of things. I just recently had an acute infection on bed rest, and I'm actually kind of, yes, having light days. But I am starting to kind of check in and definitely, paying a little more attention to what's been going on with the Jets and yeah, and all that kind of stuff, and trying to figure out how I can, well, the Jets are in a different division, different time zone. So the way the games are, I may not, they may not start till 8:30, 9:30. They may start right earlier. So me trying to figure out how to at least listen to them on the NHL radio, Jets radio, which I'm grateful for. And if I listen on the radio and then look at X streams, it does help me kind of get a good perspective, even if I'm not watching the game, because I know the game well enough. I can kind of follow along, and I can at least be a fan online. But everybody needs to take a deep breath and understand the game a little better before you get too pissed off. Goalies need to be handled properly. Every single fan needs to understand they're both penalty killers and power players. It may take up to 3 or 4 full seasons for an NHL goalie to actually play in all on the ice. You understand? Beyond the ice. These things need to be discussed better in the press for education purposes. Some of the old schoolers, I get it. Okay. I'm not trying to give you crap, but I don't think a lot of these things have been looked at in the way that I have seen it over the years. And what's best for the game is properly understanding the position as best as everybody can. That includes the analysts and everyone else. So I am gearing up to trying, putting some projects aside. I can't have like a full-time workload. I have a lot of considerations. Most of my weekdays in the morning are doctors, labs, specialists, some kind of occupational therapy, support group, things that, and I'm, unfortunately looking at becoming titanium from the waist down, man. I will adjust the way people have been addressing me on direct message. And I am going to make another post, but I want people directly involved in the National Hockey League to hear me, and press, and those who make considerations within clubs. Okay? So, let's, I'm going to gear up, and paying more attention to the Jets website, trying to, it may not be all the way there all the time, and, but I'm definitely working so that I can make sure I get proper sleep, but I can still listen to the games if I can't get them on TV. So, go Jets, go! I need to be heard. Thank you.